Welcome, viewers and listeners, back to Season 8 of the Dudes the Dead podcast. This season, we are looking at all 2025 horror films, and today is no different, but with a bit of a twist. I'll refer to the twist after we do our, as always, quick cuts.
Indeed, and because he's a gentleman, he'll let me go first. And
you know the drill.
So my quick cut is 2025's The Rule of Jenny Penn. This is our horror thriller, 6.2 on IMDb, 71 and 54 Rotten Tomatoes, respectively. James Ashcroft is the director. John Lithgow and Jeffrey Rush.
Oh, this one?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So confined to a secluded rest home and trapped within his stroke-ridden body, a former judge must stop an elderly psychopath who employs a child's puppet to abuse the home's residents with deadly consequences. So I won't say too much about this film. Great performances. Both Lithgow and Rush are fantastic. Lithgow, however, is sinister AF and
He's
super,
awesome. I like
super
John
creepy.
Lithgow.
Yeah, he does a bang up job on this one. So I would just say, don't learn too much about it. Just go and do it. Just go and watch it, rather, and surprise yourself. I think it's really good, and it's just a really interesting kind of twist on the old person theme that we've had in horror for a while.
Yeah, and does it take place in like a senior's home? Right? Yeah. I've heard some buzz about this one. I'm pretty excited to check it out. So.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's right now, if you're in Canada, where else would you be listening from? It's streaming on Shudder, so you can check it out there.
Nice. Did you see the season of Dexter with John Lithgow?
No.
Oh, okay.
Was that the new one, Dexter Resurrection? Or is
it's
it
one of the seasons, yeah. It's one of the older seasons, but
it was one of them. I read, I think 3 or 4 of the books of the series, and then I got into the first run of Dexter. We've talked about this before. I lost interest after about the first 2 seasons. The writing just didn't do it for me anymore.
Fair enough,
I was so excited with the first season. It was so good. And then it just didn't, they didn't do enough new for me. Right. And there's only so many times you can see.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Anyway, there you go.
Speaking of TV series, my quick cut is actually a new show called Alien Earth. Have you checked this one out?
I haven't.
Okay. So Alien Earth is a sci-fi horror prequel in the Aliens franchise set in 2120, 2 years before the events of the original 1979 film. When the deep space vessel Maginot crash lands on Earth, Wendy, a groundbreaking human-synthetic hybrid, and a squad of tactical soldiers uncover a dire extraterrestrial threat on the planet. Cindy Chandler as Wendy, and Timothy Oliphant as Kirsch. This has a very good 95% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 7.6 on Internet Movie Database. So if you are a fan of the Aliens franchise, then I think you should definitely go and watch this. It very much has the same feel as the original 2 Aliens films, as well as the most recent one. It has very good character, very compelling storyline. In my opinion, they maybe overexposed the aliens, like they show too much of them.
Right.
That's my only knock against it, really, and that's maybe my own subjective opinion. But it's very well done and getting very good reviews. So if you're a fan of Aliens, check out Alien Earth, which is streaming on Disney+.
There you go.
Are you planning to watch that? Or I know you're not big into series, but I know you like Aliens. So.
If I had Disney Plus, I might watch it, but I don't, so I probably won't.
Fair.
I may try to find another venue to check it out.
Okay. All right. So moving on to our main event.
You betcha.
All right. So special thanks to Erin Anya, who reached out, and she is a co-producer and actor in an upcoming film called ZombieCon Vol.1. ZombieCon, as in convention. So she reached out and asked if we would want to do a review for this, and we were excited to do so. There was no compensation given. We are not required to say anything about this. She just said, hey, we'll give you early access to it. I think it's hitting some new streaming platforms in October, and asked if we would do a review. So we jumped at the opportunity, and we are going to review our ZombieCon Volume 1.
I know what you're thinking. Freak, geek, nerd. We've heard it all. We're cosplayers. A couple times every year, we make our pilgrimage to the cons.
Welcome to the regional qualifier for the national competition.
The federal government has declared a state of martial law and has warned all citizens to stay indoors. As the now confirmed outbreak begins to spread outside the border of Los Angeles.
So this film follows a group of cosplaying best friends, Rocket, Claire, Punky, and Javier, whose lives flip into a chaotic hilarity when Claire, in a fit of anger after being bullied, accidentally unleashes a zombie apocalypse via a mysterious talisman that turns all the assholes in the world into the undead. Oh, I love that. The friends must don their cosplay gear and prop weapons and storm through a zombie-infested Los Angeles to save a loved one. So this film is a love letter to convention culture, blending satire, gore, and heartfelt fandom energy. This is directed and co-written by Kyle Valley. And actually, I noticed in the credits, he did pretty much everything.
Yes.
So hats off to you, sir.
Yes,
That's a lot of work. And the screenplay credits also go to Aaron Anya and Manny Luke, who I think plays Rocket. Aaron Anya plays Claire. And she was also in Dance of the Dead. Have you seen Dance of the Dead?
I have not.
Oh, she looked familiar to me. And then I looked up her filmography and it's like, oh, I like Dance of the Dead. It's like a prom night turns into a zombie apocalypse. But yeah, it was pretty great.
So another zombie film.
That's right. Punky Johnson as Punky and Christian Casillas as Javier. So this has a 7.9 on Internet Movie Database and an 80% score on Rotten Tomatoes. And it had a pretty meager $60,000 budget.
Wow, holy smokes. That's nothing.
Yeah. So this really falls into the
Very
budget indie film.
Holy cow.
So where should we start? I guess out of curiosity, have you ever been to a comic convention or a convention as depicted in this film?
Actually, not a big one. Do you remember Country Club Mall does one? So I've been to a little one.
Yeah.
Well, like a smaller one, but I've never been to one of the big ones. I think you went to San Diego.
I went to San Diego Comic-Con, yeah. So I'm a fan of that scene. And so I was excited by the theme of this movie. And I take my kids, and even before kids went to the Curious Comic-Con.
Yes, that's
at
right.
our local mall here, which is a smaller one, but still, I mean, people get dressed up and you can just go hang around the mall and there's a bunch of people in costumes. And
I mean, I'm intrigued by it and I would like to attend a big one.
yeah. The funny thing is I've seen your son there a few times.
Yes, he likes going.
Yeah. I ran into him at the last one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure the people are lovely. I just wonder if I'm not into the culture, would I be, as an outsider, would that be sort of a taboo thing to do? Because I'm curious and I'd love to see it. And to be honest, when I went to the last one locally, I just went with my camera and took and people were great. It's like, yeah, sure, take my picture. And so I have no doubt about the people attending. It's just I feel a little bit shy about, well, this isn't really my scene, but I'm really curious.
Fair, yeah.
So I don't know how that would be accepted, is my wonder.
Yeah, I would like to think of the types of people at conventions are pretty welcoming and open, and especially for cosplayers.
Yes.
I think in some cases they spend like a whole year making their costumes. So I think they're pretty happy to show it to anybody.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I understand your reservation or why you feel that way. The other thing I think the lens to consider for this film is that, and when you're reviewing, how do you alter your expectations for, as we mentioned, like a $60,000 film versus like a multi-million-dollar like A24 Blumhouse film?
Yeah. It's. I mean, I'm now tempering even a little bit more my thoughts because that budget is nothing. So, what they did with that budget is incredible. Considering, I mean, I didn't know that before going in. And did you see, I think it was IMDb, it might've been Rotten Tomatoes. There's a 2018 of this movie as well.
Yeah. So I've not seen that one. And
me neither.
Had I had more time, like I want to get this out as soon as possible. I want to go and check that one out. But yeah, so there's a ZombieCon, I think it was 2018.
Yeah.
And this is Volume 1. And to me, Volume 1 implies that there's probably going to be a Volume 2 at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you haven't seen that, I presume.
No, I just noticed it when I was looking up the scores, and to be honest, I was flabbergasted. But like, I don't. Let me preface what I'm going to say next. If you've heard or watched any of our episodes, I'm not a huge zombie fan, so I come into this at a bit of a deficit. But also, we've talked about Hostel many times, about the black comedy of Hostel. And I wonder if some of this film is lost on me not being part of the cosplay and not really being or knowing the scene. I mean, I got some of the humor. It was pretty obvious. But others, I'm curious about the things that you bring up because I think you might have a little bit more insight into what's going on in the film.
For sure. I do think that when it comes down to my recommendation for this, I feel like it's catering more to the con geek nerd
Yeah.
culture than it is necessarily to horror fans or zombie fans.
Yeah, totally.
There's some good horror zombie stuff in here, but I think the best stuff is the stuff that's more convention oriented.
Yeah.
So if you're not into that scene, I could see this film having less appeal. And I think this probably has the most appeal to people who love convention culture.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Like I think you would, if that's your bag, baby, you would see yourself in the film and see, oh yeah, I've been there, I've done that. I get that vibe. I understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm going to call myself an outsider. I didn't have that perspective. So it's like, okay, so it doesn't have the same impact on me for sure.
Yeah, so having gone to Comic-Con, like I love all the nerd culture things. So I like Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons and like video games. And I can find almost anything at a convention. I've never been a huge anime guy, but there's a lot to like for me at a convention. But if you're not into those things, they would definitely hold less appeal.
Yeah, for sure.
Although there are horror conventions as well.
I mean, I could understand, like I got what they were doing. I got what the attempt was. I was surprised that you gave away what segment of society was turned into zombies, because I wondered if that was a bit of a
spoiler.
Yeah,
I saw that all over the place.
Okay, fair enough.
So I think it's pretty well known.
Fair enough.
So yeah, let's start with, we'll do likes and dislikes.
Sure. And
we'll try to avoid spoilers, and we can have a bit of a spoiler section at the end.
Yeah, I think so. So likes. So again, coming back to that budget issue, I thought they did a really good job on the zombies. And like the look of the zombies, I like that. I thought the blood effects were pretty good.
It's all practicals, I think.
Yeah. And so considering, and they certainly liked their blood in this one.
I love that scene where she's there with the sword and there's like just blood all over her. And
I really like the opening scene.
Yes.
I like how, I won't give anything away, but I like how that works in the beginning. I only have really one big dislike, which I'll get to when we talk about the dislikes.
Okay. I mean, yeah, when I heard about this film, when Aaron approached me and said there's about convention, so I love the premise.
Yeah.
I can't recall a horror film or zombie film I've seen that involves cosplayers at a convention. So just like I was hooked by the idea of it. I think that was very fresh. And as someone who loves nerd culture, like when they're all dressed up as Mario and Luigi and Princess and Bowser, like at the beginning, like, oh yeah, that is awesome. And then they transition into they're the Guardians of the Galaxy characters.
Yeah.
So that was really awesome. So this movie really feels like a love letter to cosplay, especially like there's different elements of conventions, but that really came through. I did really like the characters, and I felt like there was quite a bit of chemistry between them, and I kind of felt like they were like actual friends.
Yeah, I thought it was believable that they were friends. Yeah,
for the most part. I want to come back to one element to that. Erin Anya, I think, was my favorite. I feel like she was the most consistent, and she was really good. The others were good in times, but maybe inconsistent at times.
It's exactly what I wrote down. Yeah, inconsistent performances. Yeah,
but I think they're all good actors, and I really liked the characters, and I really liked their chemistry. There were times where maybe, would you say overacted?
Yes,
in some cases.
Yeah.
And they would kind of go from like 0 to 100 in terms of they're all cool and fine. And then they get into a big screaming match kind of out of nowhere, I thought. I like the idea of rooting for the underdogs. And when you're someone who likes those nerd culture things,
yeah, for sure,
you kind of get used to feeling like you have to defend some of those things. So the interaction with the guys at the liquor store, I could really relate to that.
Totally.
And I like some of the humor in this I thought was really awesome. So just the idea that she's so mad at these guys that she wants to kill them. And if they're zombies, she can kill them. So she wants all the assholes to turn into zombies.
That whole that premise itself, I loved to death. It was just like, that is so awesome.
So good.
Yeah.
And then the play with that, like the guy's like, do you have any idea how many assholes there are in like Los Angeles? Like the amount of assholes you run to a day-to-day basis, like a lot of that dialogue I thought was really funny.
Yeah.
Even some of the subtle things, like, did you notice he was on the phone with his mom and they're talking about costumes? And she's like, well, when I was on stage. Did you interpret that she was like a stripper?
Or something like that. A dancer, stripper. Yeah. Something like that for sure.
That was so subtle, but I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then the other one, when they're in the liquor store, and like, oh, did you make your own costume? And then the guy steps up and is like, no, his mom made it, bitch. Like, I thought there was a lot of really funny
that was pretty good,
things
actually.
in here. And they actually do try to weave in some social commentary.
Yeah, I have a comment about that actually.
So they make references to like homelessness and there not being jobs and fires.
Yeah.
I have a critique with that as well. Maybe it's the same one. And then some situational comedy. I think it's Aaron Anya's character, like when they want to do the montage thing, when they're preparing to go out for the zombies and she has duct tape. And usually they just rip it, but she can't rip it. She's like, that's how I rip duct tape. It's with great difficulty. So there's a lot of moments where I laughed. How did you find the comedic elements?
Yeah, I mean, again, some of the things. So one of the things, my major complaint actually detracted quite a bit from my viewing experience. So I think sometimes I was aggravated and I wasn't getting the comedy and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we can weave them back and forth. Do you want to talk about what your major
Yeah, I mean,
was?
my big issue, and maybe it was with the screener that I saw or whatever, but the sound was all over the map. And
that was my big critique as well.
I was like, I couldn't hear the dialogue, so I turned it up, and then there was a whoosh or something, and it just nearly deafened me. I tried with speakers, I tried with headphones, and it really detracted from my enjoyment of the film because I was constantly on the volume knob, turning it up and down. It's like, this is bullshit. Like I really struggled with that.
That was tricky. And it was unfortunate because I felt like there was times, I feel like they had too much background music.
Yeah.
Some of the music was really good.
Yeah, I agree.
But some of it, I think was used too much, and especially when they're talking, because there was times where it was hard to hear what they were saying because of the music.
Yeah.
Or just the sound was, as you said, imbalanced. So their dialogue was quite good, and there were times where, it was a struggle to hear what they were saying.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't pretend to know what was going on in editing.
It could be the screener, I suppose. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I mean, I just think if even with a small budget, whoever's editing can hear the difference. I would hope your audio editor can hear the difference in sound, and it's a really big deal. When you're and I should point out as well, this has nothing to do with the fact that it's an indie film. I've seen blockbuster films that do exactly the same thing and drive me insane.
The Christopher Nolan one from a year or two ago? Did you see that one? The sound was so weird.
Apparently, that's done intentionally. I listened to several audio podcasts about sound production.
Yeah.
And they did one on the movies, and particularly current films, like let's say the last 5-10 years. And that's apparently a deliberate thing. And I have no idea why, because it's super annoying.
Yeah, definitely. Like, for sure. It was unfortunate to not be able to pick up some of the dialogue. I thought it was really clever. So they had this scene at the convention where they're kind of doing they're showing off their costumes in like a musical way.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's this funny bit where I guess they were rehearsing it on purpose because they knew the other group was going to spy on them.
I thought that was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they do this horrible thing, and that was really funny. But then I thought it was really clever that instead of them then doing an amazing one, it just a title card comes up that says an awesome dance routine later or something along those lines.
I thought that was a really nice way out of having to produce a really difficult dance routine, right?
Yeah, because how do you set that bar? And just like we say in horror, like sometimes if you don't show something, it leaves it to the imagination, which is more powerful. But in this sense, they did it in a more comedic way. But the same thing, like you could imagine amazing dance routine.
And I thought it was really smart because number one, I mean, for me personally speaking, I didn't need to see the dance routine. And you can just say, yeah, it was a great dance routine and they won. Awesome. Great.
100%.
And I thought that was a really smart choice because it was not necessary to enjoy the film. Right?
Yeah. And I'm going to predict that one of your critiques, because this is a common critique for you, is that it was too long.
Yes.
So that was a clever way to shave some time off the film.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. I just
Which
felt,
got a chuckle and felt unique.
I mean, I did feel, okay. So one of the other ones, coming back to performances, I don't know if you picked this up or you felt the same way. I felt that the angry black woman trope is a little cliche.
Okay.
And I struggled a little bit watching it. It was just like, oh, okay, that's a little well worn. And again, not knowing anything about why choices were made, there might be a really great reason why that was done. I just felt that for me, it felt a little bit cliche, and I wish that she had just been a little bit more of a regular character.
Yeah, one of my comments was I felt like there was just too much bickering between the group.
Yeah.
Like you're already these underdogs, and I think as cosplayers, you're sort of like should be a bit of a cohesive unit.
Right.
So the idea that they were like fighting with each other so much, I felt like was too bad because they already have to like, they got to fight zombies. They go against the dicks in the liquor store. And then they've got this other group that they have to go against. So one way to maybe save some time. But I think though they were trying to have a redemption arc with Rocket's character.
Yeah.
Because I did really like at the end that montage that he gives and talks about like how cosplay brings them together. And so I think they were maybe trying to weave discordance into their group so that he could kind of have that redemption arc at the end.
Yeah.
But I think the other issue, this is not an issue, but just for my personal preference, I think cosplay, because they are such underdogs, but I think they're a very welcoming group. So to have conflict between that other cosplay group to me didn't seem very authentic because I feel like against the guys in liquor store, for sure. Like I would have preferred that their adversaries were people who are not within the cosplay community because I think it's such a welcoming group and people know that they're already outsiders. So they tend to really accept one another and bond with one another. So the idea that they were like mortal enemies with this other group of cosplayers to me almost goes against the spirit of what cosplay is supposed to be.
I mean, I get the setup for that. Like, you know, you've got your, enemies or whatever. But yeah, I felt the same way. It was like, well, you guys are all into the same thing. Like, what's the deal here?
Yeah.
So I get it. I mean, and to come back to your remark, yes, I did think it was too long for what it is. I just felt, and again, this has nothing to do with an indie film. I've said this many, many times.
You make this critique most reviews we do.
Yeah. So I just felt that there were segments and scenes that could have been cut down or even left out. And my niggle at the end is I felt it was a bit heavy-handed in terms of commentary, like social commentary. And I thought, that could have been a little bit more subtle. For me, anyway.
It's tricky, I guess, the more elements that you introduce. So if you're a zombie horror and you're a cosplay and you're funny and you're doing social commentary, then the more elements you introduce, I guess, the more likely one of those might not
100%
pull off properly.
And, I mean, I tried to say this at the beginning, and I don't know if I was successful or not, but any of the critiques that I have are given with love because I have a ton of respect for anyone who takes a project like this on. And having done not this kind of video, but other video work, I know how much work it is. And I didn't have props or like none of that stuff. So it's totally said with love and respect for what you've accomplished here. But you asked, so we're telling.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could tell, if nothing else, like a lot of passion and
100%,
love went into this. Like just the fact that his name was on all these credits, like, and you could tell that there was chemistry between them and they were into it and they were having fun. And so that was really cool.
Yeah.
There's a few things I wanted to pick up on there, but and the practicals were all like, I find a lot of low budget horror really relies on those garbage blood effects that are like the default that come with like iMovie.
Yeah.
So the fact that it was all practical effects, I thought really helped a lot. What'd you think of the main guy, Rocket?
I vacillated a little bit. There were times when I really liked him, and there were times that I thought, are you 12? Like, his character didn't make a ton of sense to me, just going back and forth. Like, they all looked to him as a leader, but sometimes he didn't behave as a leader.
Yeah.
But I mean, as a leader of the group, he was an okay character. I just found that I struggled sometimes with, he was a little bit childish at times. And I mean, again, maybe that was a decision that was made like, hey, this makes him more realistic or whatever, because certainly, speaking for myself, I've had childish behavior as an adult. So it's not like that's a surprise. Anyway, that's all I'll say.
Yeah, I think they were going for that redemption arc thing. To make him more of a dynamic character. So they had to make him more of a dick in the beginning so that he gets to see more redeeming at the end. But yeah, it took away a bit from like their group dynamic.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, I also liked a little bit of the Mama Bear thing. Like,
me too.
Because I feel like oftentimes and I'm not just cosplay groups, but I grew up playing hockey. And there was always kind of that mom that was sort of a mom to everybody.
Yes.
And so I thought that was a nice character to have because, again, my life experience has been that it's often those underdog kind of people who have great parents who make their costumes or drive them places or just give them the confidence to do what is them, right? And so I thought that was a really cool thing to add in, because oftentimes it is parents, the mom, that gets kids through those stages, I think.
For sure.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
And him having to call her all the time.
Yeah,
and,
totally.
like, for a kind of background character, I was actually pretty invested in her, which was impressive considering she's not in the movie a ton. But just those phone calls that they have are good. Did the Xander guy, who was like the arch nemesis, did he remind you of anybody?
I'm probably going to know exactly what you're talking. So not off the top of my head.
So all I can think about when I saw him was Stifler from American Pie. He really reminded me, just kind of this like douchey. I don't know. Just that came to mind for me. So
he certainly. And again, like, it's so funny because, when you see someone play a role so to the T, it's easy to imagine them like being that person.
Yes.
And I'm sure he isn't, but he did that role, that douchebag role, really, really well.
Totally.
And yeah, I mean, even that whole crew was, in my mind, pretty believable. Like their arch nemesis group. I thought those characters, I've seen kind of those dynamics.
Yes.
And so that rang true for me.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that part too.
And they really weave, like, everywhere in these guys' apartment is like stickers and Funko Pops and posters. And they're watching, like, all elements of nerd culture are really pasted all over the place. I actually maybe would have preferred to have more convention as the setting, because they have it at the beginning.
Yeah, I would have liked that more too.
But then the latter half of the film doesn't really take place. So for a film that's kind of supposed to be about conventions, it would have been kind of cool maybe to have a bit more of that in the film.
Even like I was thinking, like Stranger Things has like the finale of season 4 was in the mall.
Yeah.
I wondered as I was watching, hey, I wonder, like, it'd be really cool if like the whole thing was in the Comic-Con.
Totally.
And like, they whatever, make their wish and the zombies appear. But instead of going out in the street, they're just in the convention having to kind of like, is it Day of the Dead where they're in the mall and all the zombies or is it Dawn of the Dead?
That's Dawn of the Dead, yeah.
So, so I thought that would be kind of cool if you had all the zombies kind of pounding to get into the convention center or whatever, and then all the action happened within the center.
Yeah.
I kind of get it reminded me a little bit of Escape from New York.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that with Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
I think it's a Carpenter film, if I remember correctly.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously a little bit different. But if you look at like John Carpenter's, I'm trying to remember the name of the film, his indie film, his student film that kind of started his career. This is way better than some of those, because it was like some kind of space thing, and it was Dan O'Bannon.
Okay.
The writer who wrote his student script as well. Like, I shouldn't say student. I think it was his first feature, but it was very, very low budget. But it's what got him work later.
Yeah.
And there were definitely pieces of Alien in that one that you can see. Oh, there's a kernel of that with Dan O'Bannon. But yeah, I mean, I just thought, again, the lighting was really good, even when they went out in the streets, which I found.
Agreed. I like the lighting.
Yeah, which was really good, because a lot of times in the past, again, even with big budget Hollywood films, it's like, why is this so dark? Am I supposed to be able to see this? Like I think the lighting person and the camera person and so on did a really great job of capturing even in the dark scenes.
Totally. I like some of those different filter colors that they have. Like, I think some people don't like that, but I quite like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. As you said, the sound was somewhat imbalanced.
Yeah,
So
that was really unfortunate. Yeah.
And I think editing was the other big thing, because some scenes maybe dragged a bit, like they just went on for too long.
Yeah.
So by cutting those back, the film would have been shorter, and the film just could have been a little snappier, I think.
Yeah, sorry. I think that was my critique of the length. Was not so much the length of the film, but how individual scenes could have been cut shorter or things could have been cut out. Yeah.
And I think some of the, in terms of a zombie film, like the fighting of the zombies could have been quicker and cleaner. Yeah. Like they almost ended up almost like wrestling with the zombies for a long period of time. Right. So I think that almost worked against it. I would have almost preferred just, even if they didn't have, I get that That's the expensive part.
Yes.
In many.
Yeah.
But even if they had off-screen kills with blood splatter or something,
Yes.
just to like speed up and make the zombie parts
Yeah.
feel more threatening or lethal, or I don't know, something about the zombie interactions didn't quite work for me.
Because I think the first one, can we go into spoiler territory?
Yeah, how about so let's do our recommendations, we'll
Okay.
do spoilers, and then obviously like the final confrontation is where I think most of the spoilers lie. So what are your recommendations for this film?
Okay, I'm going to make this recommendation assuming that the sound is fixed.
Okay.
So assuming that the sound is consistent and all the rest of it, I think if you're willing to overlook the indie like low budget, or you like that, you're going to like this film. If you're a zombie fan, I think you'll like this film. I don't know if a mainstream audience would get the same thing out of it. I think they might be looking for other things. But yeah, I'd recommend seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think my recommendation is definitely for anyone who's into con culture. So if you're into any of those nerdy underdog type things, I think there's a lot to love here. If you're a zombie fan, I think it could go either way.
Yeah, fair.
Because if all you watch is like George A. Romero, like Dawn of the Dead or The Sadness, or like those really dark, because they tend to be very high budget.
Yeah.
So the zombie interactions here, though fun, I think don't reach those other levels.
Yeah.
So I might be a little more cautious if you're going into it expecting horror. And I think this is more comedy than horror.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
But it's really fun. And if you're into any of those nerdy culture things, I definitely recommend it. And if you're a zombie fan, like you like watching all zombie films, then I think it is worth watching.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fun romp. And again, I would also recommend viewing this if you're an aspiring filmmaker, and kind of take note of some of the choices that were made, why they might have been made, and the lighting, especially in the dark scenes. Like, take note of that, because that's a really tricky thing to do well. I just think if you're interested in filmmaking and you're interested in directing, this might be an interesting film to have a look at for sure.
Awesome. All right, so we'll head into spoilers.
Yes. Spoilers.
So I just had an upcoming thing spoiled for me.
Okay, so coming back to the zombie thing.
Yeah.
So I liked and disliked the first zombie, the pizza delivery guy, because I thought it went on a bit too long. But what I did enjoy was the fact that I felt that they reacted kind of like how you might react if your pizza delivery person was a zombie. It's just like total freak out and like hitting him with whatever you could find. Thankfully,
those are pretty funny too. She's like hitting with a different thing, and they're all like, "Hold him down."
Fortunately, they had some katana swords on the wall that she could dispatch.
They're like, "You killed him!" Like they're all kind of guilting her.
Yeah. I felt that was not just funny, but I felt that it was really, probably a real life take on real life zombies. But I do want to ask you, because I told you this before, do you think the rubber knife thing was an oversight, was comedy? Like, I couldn't tell if it was intentional or not.
Given the tone of the film, I would guess intentional.
Okay. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the like even it goes from being not very gory, and then they do that scene when they zoom in on the chest. It's like repeated stabbings, but like it was done in kind of a funny way, I thought. Like, I laughed at that, but
yeah.
So I think intentional, but I don't know for sure.
I mean, I only noticed it because, and again, this is stuff that happens in big budget films too, where, and maybe not exactly like that, but like it'll be a historical film and the guy's wearing an Apple Watch or something, like those things like that happen in big budget films as well. So I'm not faulting them for that. If it was intentional, well done. I thought it was funny. If it wasn't intentional, then you may want to look at that.
Is there a famous thing of like Gandalf wearing like a watch or something?
Yeah, something like that.
So what did you think of the final confrontation with the zombie versions of their arch rivals? Because they do break a few of the zombie laws or rules.
I really liked the voiceover they did for
me
the
too.
lead zombie. I thought that was really good. I don't know. All I can say is okay. I'm not sure that I can critique it because I'm not a big zombie fan. So
the fact that he was talking, does that bother you?
No.
You're not a zombie purist.
No, that didn't bother me at all. No.
Yeah. I'm okay with we've had so much of the traditional zombie stuff. Yeah. I don't mind if like an indie filmmaker wants to go off and change the rules a little bit. And in my mind, it almost makes it more refreshing.
I mean, it's no different than, Danny Boyle breaking the shuffling zombies into running zombies.
That's right.
I mean, that was a huge shift and made it super terrifying. So yeah, I don't see anything wrong with kind of playing with the traditional tropes and messing around. I think that's how better films end up happening. It doesn't always work, but if you're not willing to take that risk and kind of play with the conventions, then you're never going to get anything new.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and then his final montage I thought was good. Again, it just went on a little bit too long.
Yeah.
But I get when you're limited with a budget that you want to make the zombies more of a thing. But if you don't have the budget for the crazy gore effects, then maybe you have to rely on more of the grappling.
Yeah, for sure. I mean you could see that might have been a budget issue. Because if you're not doing CG or you don't have a huge budget for practical effects, you've got to make some choices about how you're going to tell your story without those things, right?
Yeah. And did it feel a bit claustrophobic at times? Like I feel like there was a lot of close-up shots.
Yes. Yeah.
It almost felt, and maybe that's what they were going for, but maybe zooming out a little bit and be able to see the action a little bit more. Maybe it just felt like a little bit too much claustrophobia.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
But maybe that's what they're going for.
Yeah, I was going to say it'd be interesting to know what the director's thoughts were about that, and if it was intentional to kind of, zoom in. And have that claustrophobic feeling, like maybe they're feeling that way. Maybe that was intentional. So yeah, that's a good question.
But I love all the scenes of them just like going through LA with their costumes on. Like they really captured that kind of epic cinematography, I thought, up there. Now the whole like the dude on the street gives them something that gives them like that was a little bit hokey, but I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
You need some way to start the zombie.
I mean, that didn't really faze me because you see that all the time.
Yes.
Whereas there's a like stranger outsider who's in this like really weird role and ends up giving them a piece of information or something useful.
Yeah.
I don't know how useful it is to make assholes into zombies, but I suppose it has its uses.
See, now if they do a volume 2, it's like, what are they going to do? Is it more assholes, or are they going to have like a new segment of the population that has to be turned into zombies?
Yeah, douchebags.
That has to be pretty fun.
There's a whole bunch that you could name that would be good for a zombie film. Yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful that this will achieve a certain level of success and give an opportunity for the team involved in this to do other work. I think that'd be really cool.
Did you see The Guild at all with Felicia Day, the World of Warcraft, or The Gamers, Darkness Rising? I'm guessing you've not seen that. It kind of reminds me of those two things. Like they're low budget, but they're funny and they are appealing to a subculture.
Yeah.
So The Gamers, Darkness Rising is about Dungeons and Dragons, and The Guild is about World of Warcraft. And so this kind of felt very much like those films, except for cosplay. And I really like both of those, and it fits, I think, in that nice, like, nerdy subculture film.
And it was way better than The Room.
100%.
Oh, hi, Mark.
So, want to give a big thank you to Aaron for reaching out, and Anya, and giving us the opportunity to review your film. So much passion went into this. It was a really fun watch, and I'd be keen to see Volume 2.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really would like to extend my thanks too, because it was pretty exciting for us to have somebody reach out and go, hey, would you like to look at this? And it's also a risk, which I appreciate as a creator. It's always a risk to show somebody your work. So I thank you for trusting us to do that.
Absolutely. So we did last episode say that this episode was going to be Hard Eyes. But because we were given this opportunity, we wanted to get this out quickly for Aaron. So Hard Eyes will be our next episode.
Exactly.
And that'll be October 1st?
Yes, October 1st.
Great. Anything else?
I'm done.
All right. Well, thank you for watching and listening, and
we'll see you in the aisles.